Other societies deal with the debt in other kinds of ways. To me, actually, if we're going to actually understand the heritage that we are supposed to embrace, we might have to leave history behind. And we might have to think about time and think about the debt and engage with the debt in a different way. So that's the first thing. That also means that for me, there are three positions, and I always take the third position. One position says they were slaves. Another position says, no, you're wrong, because the enslaved. Both positions are positions of history. The third position says, I descend from people who always fought never to have that label placed upon them. They were not slaves and they were not enslaved. They were people who fought always against the institution of slavery. History cannot deal with that third position really that well. If you take that position, then this is my argument. What you embrace is actually what these people actually handed down to you, a particular idea. Their particular idea was an idea that said, we have to construct a kind of community that is not based upon property rights. Because remember, people were trying to reduce people to property. So their notion of community had to be one that was undone of the exclusivity of property rights. Culture could not be property. Identity could not be property. History could not be property. Object could not be property. So they wanted a style of community that was undone of property rights. Secondly, they wanted a style of community that was undone of the notion of superior and inferior. Because their struggle was a struggle against those ideas of superiority. This is the heritage that I believe we have to embrace 150 years later. Actually building that dream of that different kind of community. A community perhaps that has never existed and we have to constantly fight. That will be my argument. And its part actually, it situates itself in that struggle nowadays in the Netherlands, because the Netherlands has become multicultural again. It's always been multicultural. It's become multicultural again because people of the ex-colony come here and other parts, and they are actually struggling for recognition. One of the battles of recognition takes place in herdenking slavernij verleden. This year there's a whole lot of that going on. There will be a whole lot of celebrations and so forth to talk about equality. I believe what is vital in all of this is to ask ourselves, what do we mean when we say heritage? Because we presuppose that we know exactly what happened 150 years ago. And we presuppose it based upon the dominance that history has nowadays, how we speak about it, how we do our politics, how we try to salvage and recognize the dead. And I think when we think about history, I grew up in the south, in the Netherlands, Limburg, and herdenken always meant to think something again. Herdenken never meant you commemorate it because it actually happened that way. Herdenken means, how am I going to think this again so that then I can understand what happened. So what happens is not placed there. What happens, you have to think again. In English, it means to observe something again. And what are you going to observe? The whole question of heritage. And the whole question of heritage also has three meanings. It can mean a property. It can also mean something that is your birthright. But it can mean something that was handed down. And when it means something that was handed down, it means that you have to choose of all those things that are handed down throughout the ages, which ones you are going to use. Some might not be okay for today. It means also, in a certain sense, that anthropologists and certain philosophical anthropologists will put it, heritage is about learning how to live and learning how to die. Learning how to live means that you're going to recognize that things were handed down, and you have to ask yourself, based upon that, how am I going to live? And you have to ask yourself, what certain habits am I going to let die? So you have to learn how to live and learn how to die. That's what heritage is about from that perspective. It is not about facts of the past. It is about thinking again. I'm going to use some quotes. This is one quote, and I'm going to give you about a minute to read the quote, to understand what the quote is talking about, what this person is talking about. You ready? This guy is Jacques Derrida. He's an Algerian, an African philosopher. Later on, he went to France. Became very famous through the term deconstruction. Deconstruction comes from him. When they asked him, what does deconstruction mean? Jacques Derrida said, deconstruction is anti-racist. It's my way of talking about anti-racist. And he said, I don't do history. Because if you're going to do politics or ethics, you have to talk about the dead, you have to talk to the dead, and you have to talk along with the dead. History only talks about the dead. It doesn't speak to the dead.
It's
So
two different things.
History or heritage, you have to learn to talk not only about the dead, you have to speak to them and say, what have you handed down to me?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn to speak along with them. Who struggle against the West deal with the dead. That's why Sadia said history is the way the West attends to the dead. Sadia is a professor in the US. So how would the descendants of the Aribans deal with the dead? And I call them the Aribans. Those people who arrive after
Sorry.
as Kamal brought it. Because one of the strategies is that he did not find a name.
Those people who arrived.
And he suggested the name the Aribans. They who arrived after the horror.
Exactly, French word.
Because it didn't pass on straight away. They had to ask themselves, what am I going to keep? What am I going to let go? How am I going to speak to the dead that are dying around me? I'm going to speak along with them because certain injustices have taken place. So how do they do it? And the danger here is to think of them as simply, and they have taught us this. There is no pre-political community. To think of them as a community. The Aribans understand that people cannot say gemeenschap that easily, as we easily say nowadays. De Antilliaanse, de Surinaamse, de Turkish, de Nederlandse gemeenschap. Gemeenschap is a political project. Community is a political project. All you can say is these people share the same language, but you can't call them community. A community has a political project to do. They understood that. And that was their work. And the community that they were trying to build was a community in which people could be specific, their specific histories or the specific things that they experienced, and singular. How can I be singular and specific? Singularity, in Greek, is this. Sometimes the Rastafari say I and I. Singularity means I am always another to an I. When I am born, unique from my mother's womb, I'm a singularity. I then learned to become an I. I learned that my name was Francio, that I was a male, that I had a dark skin, that I was born in Aruba, etc., etc. But I am not completely Francio.
Yeah.
My singularity can never be those things that I actually acquired.
See what I
That's my personality.
law.
Yeah.
My singularity is something else.
Yeah.
That's what the Aribans knew. My singularity is neither the collective to
Bad
which I'm
guy.
said to belong.
Yeah,
Peruvian
that's what you were
Dutch
telling me.
accent.
Yes,
So how do you let the singularity also participate in constructing a collective? That was the Ariban's question. And that's why they said, I am not a slave, and I'm not enslaved. I'm someone struggling against slavery. I'll skip this quickly.
they use
Singularity.
universal laws.
I'll let you read it because this is a Guyanese philosopher. I think it's important for us to actually start to acquire the knowledge of those people who wrote and thought about these things from the Caribbean, writing and understanding it from another perspective. This is Wilson Harris. He calls the singularity the stranger in yourself. And if you're going to let the stranger in yourself speak, you must be in the present, but always beyond that present and outside of it. And being beyond and outside of the present is being able to think for yourself.
Forehead.
Not being able to be led to say, okay, because I'm transfer, I must do this. No. My
Forecaster.
singularity is also possibilities. The stranger in myself is possibility.
What he's trying to
Another
explain
Caribbean
is
philosopher, thinker, and
you are in the world, but you are not of the
calls
world.
this the possibility for each one at every moment to be both solidary and solitary. That, according to him, is actually the history of the icons. What they actually do. How do you do that? How do you construct a community in which each and every moment I can be in solidarity, but I can also be myself? And how do you do both? And again, remember, they had to think this because they could not accept that there was such a thing as a community. They were taken from all over and they had to construct something. So they knew you could not say there's a free political community. Community is a political act.
Yep.
It's a political project. So heritage for them could never be about birthright. And it could not be about property. Because they were struggling against that. Back again, this is what they actually asked. This is the heritage that we have to use. How do we construct those kinds of communities? Communities in which it's not about property, culture is not property, identity is not property,
Nope.
history is not property, civilization is not property, and neither the notion of superior nor inferior. Then you can ask yourself, people in the Caribbean, think about it, where are the Aribans actually from? Because we easily say this thing and it becomes a mantra, if you do not know your past, then you can't test the future, etc. But we have to ask ourselves, for these Aribans, how do they think about it? Where are they from? How actually are we thinking this? Three particular options. We'll start with option one. The mothership. You can say the Aribans are actually from the ship. Some Aribans say, where am I from? I'm from one of those ships. What do they mean by it when they say that? It seems a nonsensical statement. But the ship, and by saying I'm from the ship, they remind us of this.
Them with a triangle.
And of this. This one is probably not better. They remind us that the modern world was born through the triangular trade. Ships carrying people, long before we talked about the term globalization, carrying people, 12 million, across the Atlantic to work, create raw materials. Those raw materials go into Europe, commodify goods, then destroy markets in what is called nowadays third world, the developmental. This system, here it's 18th century, if you take the Portuguese and the Spanish, it already started in the 16th century. This system is our system. So when they say, where I'm from the ships, they mean that. This is the way it looked in the 18th century. Things moving about all over the world. And the Arivans understood something that they said, I'm from the ships. They were reminding us that when we often talk about the institution of slavery, we like to talk about those that work in the field and those that work in the house. We forget that there was a large category, especially on non-sugar plantations, that were maritime. They were on the ships. They were the ones that actually rowed the canoes. They were the ones on the ports. They were the ones shuffling the coal. If you want to understand how Tula could know about Haiti, then you have to take the ships seriously. Because it is the ships which allowed us to now put up the notion of there being continents. Without new ship navigation,
Would it be possible? Yeah.
so when the Arivans say it's the mothership, there on the ship, Ashanti and Fanti and so forth had to start to think and construct something like a community. And they could not think, this is my property as Fanti, this is my property as Ashanti.
Yeah.
No, it must be undone of exclusive property rights. It must be undone of because you are the son of the chief. You aren't the son of the chief here anymore. We're together. And it's on the ships. The age of revolutions, as it's called, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution. Here is when that notion of common humanity was born. So when they say we're from the ships, they mean that. Take maritime life seriously.
Admiralty
In
law.
anthropology, we call it a critique of terracentrism.
Law of Admiralty.
Terracentrism means the earth. Much of history talks about earth. It forgets actually that the ships and the sea, as the Caribbean poet called it, the sea is history.
The Bakra. Bakra. The ship.
Gilroy, and I'm not going to stop you.
April.
I only have 30 minutes left now. So I'm going to be very brief. Gilroy, someone should actually take the time to read Gilroy's work. But Gilroy says if you take the ship seriously, something happens. Then you recognize that there can never be closed-walled cultures. It is nonsensical because those ships from the 15th century or 16th were already integrating. So we like to talk about sometimes the Hindustani history and the African history and so forth. And Gilroy says these things were never hermetically closed. They weren't sealed off. Something new was emerged. All these people were contributing in their struggles, in their fights, to something new. It means that there's a transmodern culture which we share. It means that when people say the freedom of expression is something of Western civilization, it means that that is a big lie. The freedom of expression was born in that struggle. The freedom of religion was born in that struggle. There is such a thing as elemental humanity. Believing that there's such a thing as elemental humanity and actually forcing it through was the Haitian Revolution. There was the first time that every human being was human being. From that notion of the ships, the continents are effects. The continents aren't causes. The continents are effects because ships were sailing around, and as these ships sailed around, and you had photographers, and you had Darwin, you had all these people, they began to claim this is one continent and this is the way we're going to market. And that's a continent and this is the way we're going to market. And then they're going to govern it and say this is the culture there, that's the culture there, that's the religion of this, that's the religion of that. This is what we inherit because we Remember, the sciences that we here at universities are 18th century inventions. The ships were sailing from the 16th. When a discipline like sociology or anthropology emerged, Barbados had been 250 years already fighting the British. Cuba, 400 years earlier. Now you can take one of these effects and you can say the motherland. That's a political choice. That political choice means that you're then going to try to reconstruct the struggle against the historical denigration of the Arivans, which actually also construct Africa. So I teach a course at the University of Amsterdam called the Black Atlantic, and I say there are three constructions of Africa. There's a construction which people in Europe created. There's an earlier construction also around the same time of the Arivans, and there's a new Africa being constructed also in Asia. And there's an Africa that people on the continent construct. These four are different Africas. This goes very wrong, so we're going to skip it. So that it doesn't fit. I'm just going to say what's good. He says the problem, and that's the danger therein, is that when people talk about Africa as the motherland, they use Victorian notions. They use notions that was inherited, that said you have integrated wholes, civilizational grids. It's a way of dealing with the dead. And then the dead actually get colonized, and the dead only have a nationality, and they have a continent, and so forth. There is no issue of saying people have to translate the things that came from Africa, like they have to translate many other things. But to say that there is such a thing as flows or culture, again, Vincent Brown of Harvard, that is the mistake. The third one is the plantation. Plantation is interesting. We found again said, after the ships, we have to go to the plantation to understand. Because even though the Arivans were constructing Africa, most of the Arivans were not. The Arivans were on the plantations. What were these plantations? They were horrific. People had to struggle there. But they were constructing something new with all those people around them. And three things they learned. They learned there could be no mother root. Because people on these plantations understood the land is not ours. This land belonged to others who were killed off. The sugar cane is somewhere from Asia. The palm trees are from the Pacific. This land isn't ours, so there could be no mother root. Secondly, they learned there could be no avatar, like many other societies of our time. We descend from this ancestor who actually comes out of the ground. They did not have myths of Genesis. They had, as the Caribbean philosopher called it, myths of relation. We are related to the people. We are related to the people in Asia. And we have to ask ourselves, or Europe, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of relation do we want to have with them? And thirdly, they learned monolingual could not work. There was always a struggle of languages on two registers. There was the so-called official language, and there was the dialects, the so-called dialects. And there was always a struggle between these. And oftentimes people say, but I was not allowed to speak that language. What is more important is to ask yourself, how did it survive? How did people fight to have it survive? Secondly, you have to recognize that nothing could be the truth for these people. Not because it was written in a book, a scientific book, made it true. That was a particular language. Religion was a particular language. Their popular arts was a particular language. And all of them have to struggle. They could not say, this is how it is and it's a sacred law. That's what they learned. So community was not something that originated in sacrality. Community was something that you struggle that you fought for to become. Here I'm going to end. So you take these two as being important. The plantation and the ship. You know, on the plantation you're going to then construct notions of continents and so forth. Because on the plantations you're going to critique property and you're going to critique superiority. On the boat, you're critiquing property and superiority, and you're trying to construct a notion of community that is undone at these two things. And that's the inheritance. The inheritance of all the things that come down, that the one you might have to embrace, according to me, is that. Because for us in the Netherlands, it is vital that this story also be told. Because if here in the Netherlands there are enough people who still think community in terms of heritage, heritage in terms of property, and we hear these terms all of the time. These are terms built upon a notion of community as and heritage as property rights. And oftentimes when we hear the critique of Islam these days, it's also a notion of community built upon superior and inferior. And those are evangelically understood. That is what you do. How do you construct a notion of community undone of those two? It's a continuous path. I'm going to stop there because I promised to save my time or share my time with two students. Thank you.
Before I start my story, that my story or me, I do not like to imply that the effects of transatlantic slavery or that the existence of racism, I do not like to deny them. I'm just going to talk about them today in another way, maybe. Yeah, let's move forward. Today
That's the far right.
It's probably one of the
Right up, man. So well,
of that time. I hope you all know her. And I start straight with a kind of harsh quote, but it's... And also, yeah, the PowerPoint format changed or something, but she said, I freed 1,000 slaves, but I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew.
they were slaves.
Yeah, and why do I like to start with that? Because here, actually, we already see two kind of forms of slavery. She's not talking about the people who were fighting slavery, who she freed out of their harsh conditions. She's also talking about she could have freed more, only when they knew they were slaves. Another Greek philosopher is Goethe. Goethe also said, none are more hopelessly enslaved than the ones who falsely believe they are free. So, in that sense, Harriet Tubman and Mr. Goethe are on one line. Now, if we stop at that point and we take into consideration their quotes, this is saying that the ones who do not know that they are not free, the ones who do not know that they are not completely free, they are less free than the ones who say, listen, I'm not completely free, and I know it, and that's why I'm a little bit more free. You can ask if that is what it means. If we listen to music, what we probably all like to do, we come to Tupac. Tupac also said,
Jump to another form of slavery.
so
Get a
again,
gospel.
there's somebody pointing at another form of slavery, which doesn't have to do much of both.
Rebel Bob.
We're talking about mental slavery. He's saying the very famous quote, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery, because none of ourselves can free our minds. So, mental slavery, what do we mean with mental slavery?
Chain on your brains.
I cannot assume that all of you now, when I say mental slavery, we mean the same thing. So, when you look at some kind of prestigious dictionary, mental means it is pertaining or it is over the mind. And a slave is this is their definition. Yeah? They are saying one who is submissive or subject to a person or influence. And slavery is defined as bondage to a master or household, or subjugation or addiction to a specified influence. Okay, so if we put that together, I have three options how we can define mental slavery that come down to the same thing.
Why are they
Could
doing?
mental slavery be understood as the inability to
Doesn't
view
work.
events or oneself differently from commonly held beliefs? Could mental slavery be understood as the submission of the mind to a specified influence? Or can we, for example, understand mental slavery as a paradigm which is a togetherness of mental constructions which we internalized, which means we made it our own, which means more when you know it. And if that's
Which way?
togetherness of mental constructions might be oppressive, and that's
Yeah.
why
Had the record on.
mental
Had the
slavery
record
means.
all. We need her, man.
Mahatma Gandhi said, freedom and slavery are mental states. Mental states. Mental states, which mental states do we know? Maybe I'm focusing now on this red thing here, but while I'm focusing on this red thing here, I was not looking at the color of his turban anymore. Or something else. I just need to say, when you focus on one thing, your attention is there, but there's inattention for something else.
Duality.
While you're listening to me, you're trying to focus on what I'm saying, but your mind is drifting.
Multitasking.
Maybe you're busy with which friend you're going to meet later. You know? Even daydreaming or sleeping or after taking certain drugs or alcohol, you can have different mental states. There was one man who said, in our focused wakefulness, we as human minds employ that part of the consciousness spectrum limited to time and space. This is made possible by the device we identify as a physical body, by physical senses. When this focusing is affected for any reason, our mind begins to drift along the consciousness spectrum. And when it's drifting, you can see different mental states resulting from that, which is a few examples right here. And the last one is sleep. Now, one of also my big inspirers, sitting right next to me, when we're talking about it, listen, consciousness cannot sleep.
Slaap
It
lekker.
cannot awaken. We can awaken to a certain kind of consciousness, but consciousness itself cannot be asleep. It cannot awaken. So consciousness, we are talking about what is consciousness. Consciousness is a very important and interesting topic because very long time, and even now, every time we're talking about something, doesn't matter much what, but if we talk about it, we can put science and religion, spiritual kind of things opposite of each other. Consciousness is the topic where they come together. And why do they come together there? Because the spirituality is saying now or a long time ago, doesn't matter, probably maybe even in the future, they said there are invisible moving forces that shape physical reality. They could, for example, call this force spirit. They could call it angels. They could call it, I don't know. They could call it, at least they're talking about invisible moving forces. Now the science, when the science, which you talk about now, we say science, when it came into being, it was saying, Okay, church people, okay, spiritual people, you keep busy with your invisible things, and we will focus on the visible things. But when they were doing that, they started science, but now I'm standing at the university, trying to tell you something. The point is, first the science focused on the physical, but with quantum physics, they said no. The world and the universe is not made out of matter. It's not made out of material like this.
Yeah,
It's made out of energy.
for real.
So what does it mean, that energy? That energy can be understood.
Photons.
Again, when you ask the same scientist, what do you mean with that energy?
Photons.
Energy can be understood as an invisible, dynamic, electromagnetic field that connects everything and everyone. And our cells converge the energy,
Right.
the energy from the energy from the universe.
Radioactive.
The cells translate it into something that we can understand. Because when there's a frequency, for example, now there are all kinds of frequencies.
Radioactive, massive atomic.
Sound
Yeah.
frequencies. Anyway, our cells translate that kind of information into things that we can understand. So that's how consciousness bridges the gap between science and spirituality. And how do we do that? So this Bruce Lipton is a cellular biologist. And he said, listen, we have two kinds of minds basically. We have the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And the subconscious mind has programs and habits that we mostly acquired from when we're very young, from people around us, from our environment. It could be negative programs who oppress, it could be supportive programs who say, yeah, you can do it, you can make it, you can achieve your goals, you deserve to exist. So the thing is, the subconscious mind, you can understand as programs and habits who are playing on an automatic pilot. A CD player doesn't know he's playing a CD, he's just playing a CD because you put it in and you press play, and then it works. The conscious mind is related to the energy what we were talking about just now. It's more creative and it's not time-bound. Because I can actually know what you're going to do next Saturday. You already have an idea about what you're going to do next Saturday. But that's not where we are now, because now it's not next Saturday. So the conscious mind is not time-bound. Then why are we not all living lives which come from our creative intentions and all our
Mental.
positive ideas about ourselves? Why? Because on average human beings use only for 5% of the time we use the conscious mind. 95% we use the unconscious mind, we just play automatic programs or software, how you want to call it. And the Bruce Lipton, who was explaining this to us, or one of them was explaining this to us, he said because we have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind, and we become aware of having that, and we can know when are we using the automatic pilot and when are we really creatively living, because we must realize we are in a creation mode. We are in a creation mode, so when each of us takes responsibility for the contribution that we make to the whole, we will recognize that we are powerful and that we are all connected. That's the elementary humanity that Frank was talking about. This collective belief manifests a completely different world from the one we experience now, because it has effect straight onto the reality. And okay, I can talk with you to explain this till tomorrow morning, but I have 10 minutes. So the thing is also what's important, this changes from consciousness into manifesting into reality does not take on this, does not take on the fear. It can happen right now, so in that sense, we are approaching
Live it to
a
the
new
fullest.
evolution. And that's why people also can say awareness is the greatest agent for change. And that's why
Einstein.
very almost done. It's the last quote.
Solving equations, Einstein.
Physics scientist, he said, a human being is part of the whole called by us universe. apart, limited in time and space. A human being experiences his or her thoughts and feelings as separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his own consciousness. This delusion is a prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion to embrace all living creatures. Me, I'm from the all living creatures, not even only from humanity. That's why, for example, I'm vegan. But at least that's why also I like to always say
Hello?
Hello.
Nice presentation, yo. Hello? Full hello.
And when I'm talking about waking consciousness, or Sasha explained, I'm not feeling consciousness is something that can sleep, but it's more like when you are inspired by something, then it could be anything. This inspiration can translate itself in a new outlook or a new perspective on things. That's my view. So it's more about becoming aware of something. And first, I would like to share a bit of my own experience of awakening of consciousness, how I call it. It was partly by listening to rap music, and after. But first, I will discuss a text I read from Stuart Hall. It's called Cultural Identity, and it really shed a light on how to make sense of cultural identity.
Only one time to change my identity.
Musically.
There was promoted during slavery, and even Mexico was maintained that slavery was that black people have failed to make any significant contribution to the world. And to prove this wrong and to make people believe the opposite, Malcolm X stimulated black people to educate themselves about their true history. And I think this was one of the reasons why people felt they could draw their inspiration and strength from learning about pre-colonial African societies, for example. And Stuart Hall, M.K. Asante, Molefi Keti Asante, he's a scholar, and he states that it can serve as a way to awaken a new consciousness, and tradition means to raise historical and cultural awareness. And so scholar Stuart Hall states that the conception of cultural identity is that people share a certain, they have a feeling that they share the same culture and a sort of collective one-true self, which people with shared history or ancestry feel in common. And I think this is a powerful force amongst marginalized peoples. And so this is the conception of cultural identity from the first position. And Stuart Hall, he also has a second position to look at cultural identity, and it's more, the second position is about, it's a matter of becoming as well as of being. So identity belongs to the past as much as to the future. And he states that he explicitly refers to Caribbean identities as framed by two factors. You have the factor of similarity and continuity, and the factor of difference and rupture. And from this first
We
position,
need this for Ghana universities. I wonder if like on there they used to hold seminars like this. Charlie Ghana with a joke, but they're really dope. Ghana with the Ghana, I mean, politically this is the joke for real. See, they take on the ignorance of the people because we don't educate. We don't even have these things in our own communities, let alone to come on a regional scale. Because we don't even have these subjects for school.
Inequality expresses this relationship. What was initially felt
See, this the whole time we do the other show, this is the presentation we are all like what we give. They won't forget. things like this, projectors set. No, he's a black woman, is God. That people, how many feel that time?
So I think
you would see about with it.
I know, so you know.
No, be this. Forget me. How about we feel?
They're born the limited shit.
The whole time, Charlie, I say listen to Manly.
Immortal. Girl, she's bad, girl.
The matter they tell you say
Point of no return.
you'll be play.
Oh. Play the song.
No, if you play. Times is too slow for those who wait too sweet.
Those who fear, too loud, for those who pray, too short, for those that will praise. I hate it when they tell us how far we came to be. Down to the very top because history started with slavery. And we go down to the very to the right trick.
See the word, you don't need to go to school.
No, you don't need to school. Life is a school.
It be politics, so we put that fear for everybody inside. You feel safe for go to school.
Yeah.
It be common sense.
Yeah.
So one go school, now what she show you get diploma or them ones say they get diploma, they see you.
Better than Christ couldn't stand politics. That's why they crucifix.
When black people are always involved in something, there's always a technical problem.
This is the exodus, like the black Jews out of Egypt. I keep it reality based with the music I made. Blow up the truth in your face with the style I run with. Like the Navy missile that shot down Flight 800. I'm like the Africans who came here before Columbus. From the 1500s until after tomorrow. I watch Latin America get raped in the sorrow. You see the Spaniards never left, después de Colón. And if you don't believe me, you can click on the Univision. I never seen so much racism in all of my life. Every program and newscast, all of them white. It's like apartheid, with 10% ruling the rest. That type of stress will make me put the fucking tool in your chest.
This was the point I wanted to make is how the model technique discusses critical issues like racism, classism. So he's referring to the fact that no attention is paid in research about pre-colonial Africa, about African kingdoms and empires. So he's discussing the silences in history. Marshall already talked a little bit about it, but so that means that history is made up of facts, and certain facts are exposed while others are left behind or stay hidden. So in this sense, he undermines the notion, for example, that Columbus was the first to voyage to the New World. In fact, Africans arrived there before 1492. And he's also rapping about economic exploitation and the way racism penetrated corporate views in modern day society. And he's using the view of racism as the systematic domination over another through institutions. So he sees racism as the creation of the dominant class to build up capitalism. And according to him, classism is the real issue, and a revolutionary action must be created through the consciousness of the proletariat class. So he's starting a revolution of consciousness, that's how he calls it. So he travels throughout the world to make people know the truth, that's how he calls it. I will show you another clip. Now, it's the trailer of a documentary. With a I will.
Let me see this girl is listening to one.
This thing I can put all these things together, man. So they crop the
Play some
picture.
Jedi Matrix.
They crop the picture where they copy the lyrics. Put down for word.
Yeah.
They do presentation.
Speak from your mentor.
Yeah, but it's a good thing they are doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because people don't pay attention to the lyrics in the songs.
Indeed, yeah.
And this is what our schools needs to be teaching, man.
Yeah.
Because they make reference to what is connected to the present.
Why don't you make reference to what is happening now? Compare situations people are
because
facing.
when only a fool forget about the past, if you think about the past, then we can know what is happening now.
Because yes, though, give
The
me
past
this
is an inside story.
Yeah, but you can give me this information here. But yes, though, if it doesn't relate to a problem I'm facing home, it will be harder for me to catch up.
It does relate to the problems you're facing home.
No, they are not. It's just still beating about the bush.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because these things, reading this and this, it doesn't relate to a problem. People want us to understand what is happening in society, right?
What you have to realize that not all people here knows what is happening or what has happened.
Yeah, that's why you have to pinpoint straight up. Just paint the images for them. They need to know
That's
the
what
food,
they're doing.
this is distraction, you know. Because still this, you are not still expressing yourself, breaking it to the lowest equation. Yeah. Evolution. Yeah, this, you know.
Hey, Papa, did you get out of before?
No, seriously, yeah.
You symbolize the voice of truth all around the world in the name of rap music and hip hop.
If I was somewhere else simply because of the music I made, then there was nowhere it couldn't take me.
I have a platform where I can still be me, tell my truth, and make some
Dr.
money.
Wesley Conley.
So I can put them on.
Colin Robinson.
This is the point of no return.
More techniques than the most dangerous artists in America.
We moved to Harlem in the 80s. I used to get into fights all the time. I didn't realize what prison industrial complex was. When I began to learn and understand things about the world, I was so free.
This you wanna wake, eh? Go Ghana, go practical their brain. They come back to you
After
and
this, we consult the men. They made them go. We are carrying a big message for release and before we go, and our time is not much. So. Can we get some Jedi Matrix?
Osumara, she proposes the paradigm connecting marginalities. It means that culture, class, and historical oppression amongst youth around the world. So it connects youths, and it's really a global hip-hop diaspora. So hip-hop transformed from a marginalized culture into a global accepted phenomena in the 1990s. But there is really a paradox because some argue that because it became successful, the hip-hop industry commercialized. So in this sense, there is a focus on in mainstream rap on issues that were non-threatening for those in power. And this is based on the notion that hip-hop is part of the African American tradition in which songs and music protest against social injustice. I think this will be discussed later on more in the panel discussion. So the role of hip-hop in paving the road to success. Hip-hop is used to approach the common sense knowledge of oppression, as you saw. And I think hip-hop carries the potential to play a role
The fifth element.
paving the road to success for people inspired by it, because I think it can stimulate people to eliminate obstacles which are preventing them from pursuing their goals. However, a critical note is placed by M.K. Assange Jr., he states that the hope here lies in the underground as the mainstream has hijacked.
You can't make the future, but you start with living the past.
And applied it to guerrilla capitalism, get rich or die trying, as it said. I don't know if you know by any means necessary of Malcolm X, but he means by any means necessary freedom, equality. And now what we do like in hip hop, by any means necessary is applied to guerrilla capitalism, so it's more like making money and get rich by doing anything, whatever, by any means necessary. So this is the point he's making. But on the other hand, I still think that especially underground and independent hip hop inspires youth around the world, and it helps them to eliminate obstacles, what I said. And one thing Immortal Technique states in his rap, Believing the Past, is you can make a future, but it starts with leaving the past. And by this he means the awakening of his consciousness, and he already said in a documentary, I don't know if you really followed it, but he said, when I began to learn and understand things about the world, I was set free. And I think also what the message of the song is that ultimately you have to inspire yourself to break any, alright, to break any mental barriers that are So actually I wanted to make a connection with the text of Stuart Hall, but the time is running, so the conclusion, what the point I was wanting to make was that hip-hop is in a constant process of transformation, so although we can criticize the state of hip-hop, it's not that hip-hop is dead like Nas. I don't know if you know the statement of Nas, hip-hop is dead, but it's still, it's not dead, but it moves from
You need a teacher.
Oh, she's trying her best, man.
Of course, hip hop is dead. Hip hop as we know it is dead.
But some of us resurrected it. It's still,
No,
we're still preserving it. We're still preserving the culture.
Who is still
Because I'm living it, not the majority. All of us are living it.
Hip hop as we know today is dead.
Now hip hop has become a holy something now. You know, it has become holy now. The ones they are preserving the culture regardless. It's dead in the mainstream.
Let me see what's on the menu.